The cards that I opened, I was able to get 66 out of 68 correct. The other two were giving me, a little bit of jiggling here and there, between a couple cards. And that leads to about a 97% accuracy rate, which I feel is, pretty good. So problems and quirks. First problem is glare. Like I said, these cards are kind of glossy, if you can notice. And the light reflects off them pretty heavily. So if you don't do this in sort of a nice area, that's why I kind of put this table here to get it out of the direct light. So when the glare hits the card, it shows up as white. And then when you're scanning it, it's going to think there's a huge white blotch in the card. And that's going to decrease the accuracy because it's looking for cards that have a giant white blotch in the middle. So that's a big issue. Foils. So,
Mike, I do have a question. So,
yeah, what's up?
So basically what you demonstrated was you were comparing the representation of the image that Tom scanned against the representation that was in the database. Now, how did the items get in the database?
Well, that's what I was explaining earlier with the Scryfall API. I ripped all the images off Scryfall.
Right.
I hashed those images into their bit strings, and then I stored those bit strings into the database.
Okay, so but it's not the same algorithm that you use that.
No, it is the same algorithm.
Oh, it is the same.
Yeah, that's the point.
Oh,
Why wouldn't it be?
well, because it was in a different form. I was just wondering if it was the same algorithm.
Yeah.
Whether, like, for example, glare and these other issues would.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. The cards in the database don't have any glare, right? Because they were all scanned with like a photocopy or something. So when you're doing it in real life, there's a bit of an issue with glare and fuzziness and different stuff like that. So one good idea, which I just thought of now, would have been to add some sort of blurring to the HD image before putting it in the database, just to make it more like real life, which could have helped with the accuracy.
Yeah, I think that was my point. That you were talking about possible environmental errors when you're scanning it, and I was just wondering, would there be any errors when you put it in the database?
Yeah, no. So like I said, the database copies are like pristine, which I guess is unrealistic. So maybe I should have done something to them,
Well,
some sort of.
blurring the originals, I would think it would make more sense to try to correct the problems in the image as you're scanning it.
Well, yeah, that's why I actually had the idea to.
Scaling these things to like 8x8s, right?
That could work too, yeah.
I would think that you would lose all of those intricacies.
Yeah, so that's the point with shrinking the images. You sort of lose a lot of the inconsistencies. But even still, it might be a good idea just to sort of either correct one or the other.
You didn't check for different, like you made it 8x8s in the 3 different channels. What if you made it instead 16x16? Now you got more bits. I don't know if that would help to.
It definitely would, but it would decrease the performance.
You need to continue this research in a PhD program.
I don't know. I've been here 6 years. I might want to.
Mike, each image is really not a square. How you decided to use 8x8, not to the aspect?
Yeah, I originally tried 8x6, which is the aspect ratio for a card, but I just felt that. I don't know. I guess just. Yeah, more pixels than 8x6. I mean, I guess I could have done, whatever 8x6 is scaled up.
Right.
But yeah, just preference. I don't know. I went with this, just decision. So like I was saying, glare tends to be an issue. I was actually, if the room was too much of a glare, I was going to bring in my umbrella, just to sort of give a nice even, lighting distribution. Another issue is premium foils. So I'll just pass these out. Every so often, if you open up a pack, you'll open up a premium foil. And what these are is they have a glare on them that makes them look shiny. And that throws off the system completely. You can't scan foils. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. So that's also an issue.
So some cards are in that form.
Yeah, so in a pack, usually in like 1 in 5 packs, you'll get a premium foil. And it just throws off the system. I
So
can't.
that's supposed to be like a better version of the car.
Yeah, they tend to go for more money.
I see.
So it's just sort of a premium, you know? And then the error I was talking about, when you don't give the system a photo, like I said, there's a bit of code that I cannot change here. So I can't edit this at all for some reason. I guess it's protected by whoever made it. But this is the error that they throw, and I can't sort of stop it. I've tried suppressing it upper level, but it doesn't work. You need to suppress it here, but
What do you mean you can't change it?
I, I can't change it at all.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, maybe if I went deeper, but I'm just not going to mess with it. So
Is it part of a jar file, or you already have the source code?
I'm pretty sure it's a jar.
It looks like it's just, say, it's reconstructed the source code from the compiled class. I mean, that's,
Yeah. So anyway, that's why that error is throwing. It doesn't break anything. It's just it throws an error because there's no image that it's processing.
Well, why not just hand it like a blank image or something? This is the situation where you're using the camera, but it's not detecting edges, right? So in that event, why not just hand it a blank image?
It's a good idea. I'll have to deal with that.
Here's a business idea. On top, there's whatever rectangle, so you always put the inside on that.
That's not bad. Yeah, no, these are all good ideas. I'll have to think about it. So lessons learned, scope. So if you notice, I didn't actually implement the web front portion of the project where you could manage your collection. This ended up being way more time consuming, and I had to do a lot of research into sort of image processing, and that took up a large chunk of the time. And then improvements / future plans. I want to have a better scanning algorithm because if you'll notice on the cards I handed out, if you look in the bottom left, each card usually has a set number. So like this one is 197 out of 250, you know? And if you look at the cards, each of them has their own unique identifier. So one idea would be to check the unique identifier first, and if I can't find the unique identifier, you would do the art as the thing to be scanned, like my system does now. That's just a way to improve the accuracy. Another issue is reprints. So sometimes they'll print a card and then print the same card again with the same art, but they're from two different sets, and that tends to be an issue because sometimes a card from one set tends to be more pricey than the other. I've got a quick example here. So let's say we've got this card, right? Mana Vault. Here's what it looks like. Currently, it's worth $25, right? But if we go to the same card, which was printed a couple years earlier, the price jumps to $130. And that's just because it's rare, it's older, but it's the same card. So my system currently can't handle reprints because it's just going to think it's the same card. And so that could have effects when you're trying to trade because they might think it's the cheaper one and not give you as much money as you deserve, you know?
How would you determine the reprint from the original?
So that's what I was saying about the specific set identifier. That could help.
So when the reprint is a different identifier.
Yeah, because it's from a different set. It's not from the same set. These unique identifiers tell you its number relative to the current set. So like this one is, 166 out of 159. But let's say if you were to reprint this card in the next set, it might be, 17 out of 220, If you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, so what if two cards, all right, so it still doesn't uniquely identify, it only uniquely identifies it within a given set. Does it also tell what set it's from?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, underneath, sorry.
okay, so then it is unique identifier.
Yeah.
Assuming that the sets are unique.
Well, speaking of future work, right, is there much of a market for forgeries in this?
Yes, a lot of people forge stuff. There are fake cards. It's kind of an issue for the older cards because they're very easy to fake. I don't think the system would be able to tell the difference, at all, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you might have the foundations or something that could go into that.
Possibly. I mean, it's kind of an issue because the fakes that people make are like very convincing. It takes, you know, like experts, like an hour of like testing different methods to actually check if a card is fake or not.
Why would it matter?
You see, no,
It's like-
I know. This,
A painting and it looks the same, so what's the difference?
I know, but it matters to some people. That's all I'll say. It matters to some people. And so other things I want to do are, as I mentioned, currently I only do standard, which is the last 2 years of sets. What I want to do is all sets eventually. Efficiency, I want to improve the efficiency, and Dr. Bishop had given me the idea to use buckets. And what I mean by buckets is, real quick. So if anyone's familiar with like a Voronoi diagram, you've got sort of a base point, and then sort of the points within that base point region are all related. And so I was thinking of some sort of way to organize the database where you would check the card coming in against these base points and see which one it relates to closest to, and then check that area first before checking every other area. Because currently my system just checks every card in the database, and that's kind of poor for optimization reasons. Prices, like I said, I tried getting that working for the demo. I wasn't able to. Mobile, because the whole thing's written in Java, it wouldn't be horrible to port it to mobile. So that's definitely, I want to do something like that eventually, because you know, carrying on a phone is easier than lugging around your laptop with a webcam attached to it. And then, like I said, I want to finish the webfront/trading thing where you could look through yours or someone else's collection and see what they have. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. If anyone has any questions, Professor Jackowitz.
So what's the generic potential for this? Like, I assume there are lots of other games that involve cards where
Yeah.
a lot of the requirements would be the same. How generic do you think this would be in terms of other games and other sets of cards and all that other stuff?
I would say pretty generic. As long as you have a database of card images that you could pull from to fill your database, I think it would be able to search just fine. So like if you wanted to do this with baseball cards, you would need a comprehensive, list of baseball cards online somewhere that you could download the images from and put them into your database. But once you have them there, I don't see any reason why you couldn't scan Yu-Gi-Oh cards or baseball cards or Pokemon cards,
How much money did you spend on magic cards?
Well, I was kind of hoping I could ask Pliska for like a reimbursement, write this off as a business expense or something, if possible. I don't know. I won't go too deep into it.
Mike, for the ID at the left bottom corner,
Yes.
since after you got the outline, can you carve that part out and run some kind of OCR to determine the ID?
Yes. So if you'll actually notice, if we go back to the TCG player, you notice this blue box? Mm-hmm. It's hovering right around the unique identifier.
Okay.
So as I was talking to the guy, he had mentioned that they were implementing this sort of idea to improve the accuracy. We're first looking for the unique identifier, and then if it fails to find the identifier, you would just do the art of the card. So that's actually being shown here.
That almost takes the fun out of it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheating, really, if you think about it. But Dave and then Joe.
Does the JSON file online for the image that you put into the database, does that have the set information in it as well?
Yeah, so the JSON also has all the set information. I mean, it's in here somewhere. I would have to find it. But yes, it does have that. Yeah, it's got the specific ID here. It also has the date it was released, It's got all the metadata about the card that you could ever want, really. Joe, you have a question?
Yeah, you said, is there a circumstance where it wouldn't be able to find the unique identifier?
Yeah, some of the older cards don't have unique identifiers.
Oh, okay.
So that's where being able to use the card art is pretty important. Or if it's obscured in some way or it's damaged, you could just do the art of the card instead. If no further questions, I think I'm done.